What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. Welcome to Saturday Night Crypto. I'm gonna turn off the music here. And there we go. Hopefully you guys are doing well. It's been a pretty decent week. Feel free to say hello and introduce yourself in the chat if you're new. If not, feel free to ask any questions you have. This is interactive. I have an agenda, but I will always get to questions and answer anything that you guys have. So feel free to just type in the chat, and we'll go from there. So I'd like to start out every stream with an overview of the entire market cap. So last week was the 5th. So here we were Saturday the 5th at $215 billion market cap, and today we're at 221. So that's about $6 billion into the crypto market cap since last week, which is pretty good. Looking at the Bitcoin versus altcoin chart, so if we go to the 5th here, it was at 146. So about 4 of that 6 went into Bitcoin, is that right? And a couple of it went into altcoins. So it looks like a little bit more Bitcoin than altcoins, but let's take a look at the dominance chart. So each of these vertical red lines is when we do the live stream, just kind of looking at it. And it does seem to be in a downtrend, which is really good for altcoins, right? I mean, we really want just heavy, big, fat red candles and deep ones too. And it's just sort of creeping down. But I mean, it's dropped from, up there at 73% dominance all the way down to 69. So it's dropped 5 or 6% just in the last a little over a month there, it looks like. So it is dropping. Looks like we had some bounces here, like just kind of analyzing the pattern. It looks like it's still in a downtrend. So this is going to be good for altcoins, It's interesting because a lot of people are like, hey, when's the alt season going to come? The kind that I remember from 2017, the kind where things were going 3x, 5x, 10x. Like, when is that alt season going to be there? And honestly, my opinion is that we're probably not going to see that kind of an alt season until new money comes in to crypto, right? Until new funds, new retail money or institutional money, and a lot of it gets injected, that's gonna, and then when Bitcoin stabilizes and everybody says, hey, what are the cool little projects that I can invest in, and they're all gonna skyrocket. But we're not there right now. We're still at a place where most of the money you see is just sort of people moving around, people going in and out of Tether and fiat, and a little bit of institutional here and there with backed, and stuff like that. But the volume is not super huge. There's not, hundreds of thousands of new Coinbase accounts or Binance accounts being created. So really what we're seeing now is just traders, right? And a little bit of institutional here and there, but people just buying and selling. So even when Bitcoin goes up, it's just, whales and people that are already in crypto. It's not a whole bunch of new money, right? Which means we're not going to see catastrophic huge advances until we get a really big influx of cash. But what we are seeing is kind of the 2019 definition of an alt season, which is different, which is just sort of a slow accumulation of altcoins, 5% here, 10% there, 15% here. Repeat that over a full couple of weeks and you get up to a 50% gain, which is pretty nice. And some coins have seen that, like Matic has seen that, Ravencoin, right? There's a few, hot altcoins that have seen, about 50% in the last, couple of weeks or so, right? As they've just sort of slowly creeped up and then correct and creeped up, correct and creeped up. So that's kind of the structure of the alt seasons that we're dealing with now until new money comes in, right? So it's gonna look like that for a little while. As long as Bitcoin dominance continues to just creep down, altcoins are going to creep up. And you have to trade it that way, right? Like, okay, be happy with 5%, be happy with 10%, right? Like, going for the 50% is a little rough. You're like, yeah, there were a couple of coins that hit 50%, but if you tried to throw a dart at the altcoin board and hit those 50%, there were like two to three squares that hit those. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough, right? Like, I've been happy just kind of sitting on 5, 8, 10% here and there, like on very short-term time frames, relatively speaking. Anyways, that's what we're seeing here. It looks like there's definitely more, room for more downside, which would be good for altcoins. But let's actually go to the Bitcoin chart. So if you guys remember last week, I made a prediction. Whoops. I made a prediction that, it looks like the price is coming down here. And even though it bounced and closed below the bottom Bollinger Band, I figured before it went up to the top Bollinger Band, either the top is going to come down. We were right here at this red line last week, right? And I'm like, here, so let me like put it there. So this is what the chart looked like last week. And I'm like, man, it just looks like it's going to come down for another bounce. There's a nice support here. I'm like, man, I really think it could come down to hit this. So I put in a short. We did a paper trade, but I actually took this short, didn't I? Yeah, I think I actually took this short here. And, put the buy here, put the take profit here. And we had a really nice fat red candle here. And when this fat red candle happened, before this candle was happening here, before the green return candle was happening, I moved my stop loss from here to about here, a couple percent, like just a percent or two up, just to make the trade risk-free. So instead of my stop loss being down here, I moved it up to break even, and then I got stopped out at break even. So no harm, no foul there. Almost made it to the take profit zone. Almost made it there, but didn't quite. Then it turned around, hit my stop loss here. And if I hadn't moved that stop loss, it would have come back and stopped me out here for 4% loss. But I got out at 0% on this trade. But I didn't have much in it. I didn't have much in this trade anyways because it was a 4% risk to 6.5% gain. It was okay. It was all right. I did much better on a Matic trade, which I'll go over with you guys later when we get there. Anyways, so that's where we were last week. And now, what about now? What about now? So we're still in this downward channel here, and we've been in it for a while. Looks like we're going to make another run at the top of it. We made one here, almost a touch off the top. Almost got there. I mean, it's close enough. But you can see this yellow resistance zone here has been pretty significant for price, right? Like, not only are we trying to break this diagonal trend line here, but we're also trying to break through this guy here, and we've hit, right? And we're having trouble breaking through that as far as the Bitcoin price here. Now, looking at the one-day chart, let me bring on a couple other indicators too, just to see what we're looking at here. So the RSI looks pretty good. The RSI had a really bottomed out here. RSI was one of the reasons I was a little scared to take that short, because this RSI was pretty scary. Like, look how low it was. But now, since then, looks like it's still trending up, which is bullish. Price looks like it hit this midline Bollinger Band here and closed below it, then above it, then below it, then above it. So it's sort of hovering around there, and the bands are tightening. Since the one-day price has been flat for so long, like look at these Bollinger Bands coming in here, like they're getting really, really tight, which means that there's probably going to be an explosive move either up or down coming pretty soon here. And if I had to guess, we'll look at some indicators, but I'm going to guess down right now. I'm going to guess that it's going to crack through this support here and test this midline channel. So I'm predicting something like that. Maybe this, or maybe it breaks through this and comes back up. But I'm predicting one of these kind of moves here, and we'll see if that happens. But Bitcoin has been looking really weak here. Like, we have this huge consolidation, this big drop on the one day. However, looking at the MACD, we have a bullish cross right here, and since then price has been starting to go up, which looks really nice. Looks like this little histogram here has started to maybe round out. And maybe these lines are going to come back down and recross, but it's too early to say. Need another day or two to see what's happening here with the MACD. Like I said, the Bollinger Bands are tightening. There's going to be an explosive move one way or another. I mean, it certainly could. We certainly could see a BART back up here like that, like crushing through these two resistances here. I just don't really see it. Let's take a look at a couple of other. What just happened? I clicked the down arrow. Let me pop open the Ichimoku cloud and see if there's anything there on the 1 day, and then we'll take a look at the 4 hour. So, whoops, I meant to close the Bollinger Bands. Okay, so price is below the cloud, the Tenkin's below the Kijin, so this is all pretty bearish. This is all pretty bearish, but also, I mean, the price is getting so far from the Kijin up here that the price should be, this red thick line and the price are going to magnetize together sooner or later. But before that happens, it's got to break. It's got to hit this. It's really funny. Like the Kijin is sitting here up in this resistance, this green zone. Meanwhile, the Tenkin is sitting here in this yellow zone. So, I mean, it just sort of reinforces the fact that, like, kind of here's our first resistance. Here's our second resistance here. And I think price needs to hit through both of those, right? The cloud is really thin up here, though, which is nice. Although it's getting thick and red up ahead. So that means that in order for price to break through the cloud here, it's not only got to get through this and this, but then it's got to get through, the cloud and all the way up to here, which is fine. It has this right here at this red resistance, right? So this resistance is this red, this yellow, green, this yellow here. I probably need to change the colors of all of these. Yeah, let's do that now. But, just kind of looking at these, they're significant, right? Like these are all zones that Bitcoin needs to pass before it can really take off, and I just don't see any signs of that yet. Right, it's still having a lot of trouble just with here. This last support here is probably going to be resistance when price hits it again. This guy up here in the 93 and 9500. But if we can break 9500, we should be good for a run all the way up, through the cloud. But 9500 is really the key point before price can shoot up through here. Yeah, okay, so let's kill the cloud, put the MACD back, and then we'll start looking at the smaller time frames. Okay, let's bring that back on. Let's go to the 4 hour and see if anything looks different. So, and bring the Bollinger Bands back on. Okay. So the RSI looks, on the 4 hour, looks a little bearish, right? Like it tipped up here above the 70 into the overbought zone. Now it's coming back down. Got the bearish cross right here on the MACD. Price is coming down, so it's all confluenced together, like down, 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 bear, bear, bear. And so it looks like it broke through the middle line here, and it's going to head down to the bottom. So, probably got a couple 1 to 2% drop in the cards here, unless it barks back up, which is just gonna be hard to say. But looking at these indicators, it looks a little more bearish than bullish to me on the 4 hour or the 1 hour. I mean, 1 hour we're just pinched all the way across and flat, so there's not really much to see on the 1 hour. Anyway, that's Bitcoin. Slightly more bearish than bullish, but nowhere near enough to consider a trade. It just looks like it's kind of in no man's land right now. Let's look at some alts. So first things first, let's look at the altcoin dartboard here. Here are alts against USD, and you see a mixture of greens and reds. The major caps look red, whereas some of the mid caps and a couple of the big ones, but the mid caps and the low caps are a mix of green and red. Let's look against BTC though. Let's measure this all against BTC to see how things have been doing against BTC. Now the picture changes a little bit. The major caps are all green. In fact, the whole board is mostly green. Like if you were to throw a dart at this board, you would probably make money. So to me, if you had bought in the last 24 hours, anything, you'd probably be up right now. I mean, maybe not in the little coins down here, but any mid or major cap looks green, which coincides with this chart here. The dominance chart is things have been dropping Bitcoin dominance has been dropping, which means that these guys have been outpacing BTC. So as long as these stay green, things are really good. And what you normally see is the green shift from the big boys to the mids to the smalls. And you're sort of starting to see that now, right? Like it was the big boys for a full like 3 or 4 days, and now we're seeing the mid cap start to turn green. You know, BNB, Atom, you know, some of these other guys down here, ADA, not right now, but some of these guys here starting to turn green. And they've been green for a little while. But let's go look at ETH against Bitcoin and just sort of see some charts. So just another perspective on the same thing. So we're on the day chart now, and ETH has been dropping against Bitcoin pretty steadily in the macro view, like over weeks. We took this short a couple of weeks ago, worked out really well, and now it's just sort of flat, right? We had this wick here above the top Bollinger, and then a little tap of the midline here. What is this marker here? Why did I put this marker here at 21.7 sats? Is that significant for anything? We probably did it last week. Is this like where we put a stop loss or something on this? I don't know. I'm not sure what this is. Anyway, if this move here was a retest of the middle Bollinger here, then we might see a nice bounce up here. But it wasn't. I mean, it was like a perfect tap. Like it looks like it barely missed it, right? So this could still kind of come down. So I'm not really seeing a strong signal here. RSI is definitely trending bearish here, but yeah. And actually, if you look at this, if you look at the RSI, let me make this a little bigger. So if you look at the RSI here, and then you look at the price tops here, that's bearish divergence. When the price tops and the RSI tops are diverging, that's bearish. So that's a bearish signal. Okay, that's one little bearish sign right there. This little maybe bounce off the midline could be kind of potentially bullish, so that's a mixed signal. MACD here is a bearish cross right here, so that's bearish. So we got bearish, just overall trend in the RSI coming down from this overbought position here. We've got bearish cross here. We've got bearish divergence here. We've got bullish bounce off the Bollinger Band. So that's bearish, 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 bullish. That's still a little bit bearish to me. On the 1-day chart, let's go into the 4-hour and see if anything changes. So on the 4-hour, we're still bearishly trending, it looks like, unless this broke. Let's see. Let's get in there. Put this on, put this here. So has not broken, but might break. But we're still, you know, resistance, resistance, resistance. So this is still bearish at the moment. And, you know, another day or two could change this, but that's where we are right now. There's no bearish divergence here. That was on the 1-day, but not on the 4-hour. This looks like, the MACD looks like it's about to bullishly cross in another half day. Another half day within the next 24 hours. This looks like a bullish cross. Got a really strong close here below the Bollinger bottom band here. So this looks like it might be good in the short term. We got a couple more bullish signs. For 1%, that's not really good. We got bearish, bullish, bullish. So that's a little closer to 50-50. Yeah. But on the larger time frame, which always trumps the shorter time frame, we had bearish, 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 bullish. So I'm a little more bearish on ETH against BTC in the longer time frame. Like there might be some short-term action, but like in the next week, I would say we probably come down from here. We probably come down by next week. So let's make not enough to make a prediction, not enough to take a trade or open up a short or anything like that. Like there's just not a really good setup here that I'm seeing. There was a decent one here, but not here. This is just too. We have it right in the middle here, and it's just too tough. Anyway, let's move on to Ripple. Let's just go down the market cap list, and then once I get through the top 10, I will talk a little bit about a couple of other things that I mentioned on Twitter that I was gonna bring up. Okay, so last week we were at the 5th, 765, right? Yeah, we were here, and now this is the last candle that's closed. So that was the last candle that closed last week. We were hanging out here, and then we were here. So how about Ripple? So Ripple looks on the 1 day definitely looks bearish from here, right? We got this bounce off the top Bollinger Band. Did not reach the middle. Does seem to be kind of coming back up for maybe another tap though. We do have some bearish divergence right here on the 1 day of Ripple. That could have predicted this little move right here possibly, but it still looks, it's still divergent, right? The RSI from the price tops, whereas the bottom is a little divergent, but it's still in the same direction. Like this is higher lows, this is higher lows. It's just not as much of a steep jump here. So a little bit, and then we've got a bearish cross coming here on the MACD. Can't really say price is trending down here. Sorry, not price, but the RSI, because it's flat. So nothing here except for bearish divergence on the 1 day. This is bearish. So we got bearish, bearish, neutral. So overall, this looks bearish to me. I don't really like it. How about volume? So volume, we've got price going up and volume going down, right? Here we had price going down and volume going down, so that little trend ended. But now we only have 2 candles here that we can really look at. You can't count this one because it's still forming. But in 2 candles, we have price going up and volume going down a little bit. So that says, hey, maybe this little sell rally is kind of running out of steam here. That's usually what a divergence in volume and price means. Whichever direction price is going, if the volume's declining, then that move is coming to an end, which in this case is a bull run here, a tiny one. So this might kind of see something like that happen. So my prediction is bearish here. Let's see. Let's move on to Bitcoin Cash. BCH ABC on Binance against Bitcoin. All right. What do we got here? So now we're on the other side of the Bollinger Band here. We failed to close. I mean, we did close above it, but now back here below this middle line. Now it's trying to break through again. Meanwhile, the RSI is trending up. Well, it was, but then it broke. So now it looks kind of like this. Any divergences in the RSI and the price? We got higher low here. We got higher low in price, and then the tops we have the same thing. So no divergence in this. MACD crossed bullish right here, but looks like it just recrossed. So that's bearish. This MACD recross, and the histogram is about to flip over red. Like literally tomorrow, this is going to be red probably, right? So this to me looks again bearish, short, I mean, well, on the day chart. So probably, to the bottom Bollinger, a few percent here, 3 or 4% before this bottom Bollinger Band catches up here. So this looks decent here, because it does look like this resistance is holding. So if you're looking, this is a possible short. Let's draw it out and see if the numbers make sense. So if we were to short right here. Let's get in here a little closer up. So if we were to short right here at price right now, we would probably, they added a feature now where I can drag this without moving it up, right? Oh, it didn't. It's good enough. Okay, so if we did that right now, we would probably put the stop loss just above this guy here, this high, which would be very little risk, right? It's above the midline Bollinger Band here. Probably very high chance of getting stopped out because the stop loss is so tight, and we'd probably put the take profit kind of. Let's see if there's a horizontal. So yeah, you could put it here where these guys were, but I'd probably put it a little above this. Yeah, it's just about right here. So what does this look like as far as risk reward? let's see. We are at a 1.5% risk to a 4% gain. So that's actually a nice R&R right there. Very high chance of getting stopped out on this though. Really high. Because like price is coming up into this. It might just go like, I mean, you could even be right and it would be like, whoop, and then come down here and you'd be like, but I was right. And because you set your stop loss there, like it just gets nicked. So like you could move this up. Like what if we put this up to here? Now you're risking 4 for, now it's 1-to-1, so that just sucks. I just don't like it. So I mean, this would be the trade if you were gonna take it, but it's risky. It's just really risky. I don't know, man. Very high probability of getting stopped out, even if you're right. So I don't know. But anyways, this is the trade. I'll just leave that there. So that's Bitcoin Cash. How about the 4 hours? Is there anything going on in the 4 hour? So the 4 hour closed above the middle, and our stop loss is right at the top here. So it totally could just be like, you know what? We're just going to go whoop and then come back down here, and that could happen. It just looks really likely. Bullish here, bullish here. So yeah, I would expect that this is going to test the top Bollinger Band. But if the stop loss is set, so maybe you put the stop loss just outside the Bollinger Band on the 4 hour, which would give you a little more risk, like there, but still not too much, right? Like what are we talking? 2% for 4%. That's still a 2-to-1 R&R, which is good, which is the kind of R&R you want to take. So I like that. It's not bad. Okay, so back here, yeah, I don't know, very risky short, but yeah, it could pay off. We'll see. What's next? So next is going to be Litecoin, LTC. Okay, let's take a look at Litecoin. So Litecoin is under the Bollinger Bands here, and on the 1 day we've got it's kind of flat, this looks like a bearish cross here on the MACD though. So Litecoin looks to me like it's going to pop down here also. This looks a lot like Bitcoin Cash, right? Which was under the Bollinger Band. Looks like you might be able to short it here, but it's just a little risky right now because Litecoin tends to move with Bitcoin. How about the 4 hours? Is there anything better here? So Litecoin looks like it got rejected by the middle Bollinger, so it looks a little more in line with that short play here. So if you were going to take this on the 4 hour, you would put your take profit right here where this guy was, but you would put your stop here. It's just so tight. It's just so tight. Oh no, it's only 1%, so I don't even like that. Let's just get off there. Nah, no good. Just not enough opportunity here. Like one thing, you just want you never want to force a trade, right? If you see a really good setup, you know, take it. But if you're just like, I'm bored, it's Saturday, I want to get into a trade, like that's gonna get you wrecked a lot more often than it'll pay off if you just bend your rules a little bit so that it looks good. Just don't do that, man. I've done that enough times, and it's always, not always, but more often than not, it's come back to bite me. So don't bend your rules. Don't force a trade. Just be patient. Look for a good setup. It'll come. There's plenty of shiny things out there. There's lots of fish in the sea. If it's not this coin on this day, it will be later. Don't worry about it. There's tons and tons of great setups that happen. Don't need to force it. So what's next? BNB. No, EOS. Let's do EOS next. That was a little hopeful there that BNB would pass EOS, but we're not there yet. So EOS on the other side of the middle blind Bollinger Band here. It's kind of nice. So, you know, hey, is this a leading indicator, right? Whereas Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash looked like they were about here, and I'm like, hey, maybe that short's going to happen. But no, it kind of came back through. Maybe this is a leading indicator, which makes that Bitcoin Cash short really risky, super risky if this plays out, because that's going to get into your short, into your, you know, stop loss territory there, this wick, this candle here. But who knows, man? Who knows? Hard to say. Definitely looks a little bit more bearish here, just like the others did. But we've got a bullish cross on the MACD. That's 4 hour. Oh, Jesus. Okay, sorry. Well, this looks bullish too, right? We're on the top side. We got a nice bounce off support here on the 1 day. So this is different. This is definitely different than LTC, right? Unless I was on the 4 hour on that too. No, we were under. We were under the Bollinger Band here. So this looks bearish, whereas EOS, it's the same structure, but it looks a little bit more bullish here than Litecoin. This looks like it's about to bearishly cross, though. So maybe this was just a little bit ahead, and it's going to kind of crack down through here. The short opportunity is much greater here, but you would have to put your stop up here above the Bollinger Band, and that's just, or at least up here, because price can easily, come back here. So I don't know. You're risking this for this. That might be all right. Let's take a look for a short. We're going to short this all the way down to here, which I would put it right about there. Nice, safely above these lows here. And then you would put your stop loss there above this guy outside the Bollinger Band. What's the R&R here? 11 to 8. I really like 2 to 1 or greater R&Rs. This is kind of like 1.5 to 1. It's all right. It's not great though. Let's look at the 4 hour and see if anything changes, shall we? So on the 4 hour, this looks, we got a bullish cross here on the MACD, but the Bollinger Band's kind of coming in pretty hot and heavy here. So it looks like it's going to close above this and maybe kind of bounce back down. Volume, have not been talking about volume. Kind of flat, honestly. This was price going up, volume going up, so that's bullish. That's nice. That's nice. Let's look at it on the 1 day. On the 1 day, we got volume going down, down, down. Sorry, price going down, down, down. Volume going up, down. So that's just a wash. Not really. No, volume's not telling a story here. So this is pretty risky too. I probably would not. I would not take this trade personally. The Bitcoin Cash one maybe, but this one's a little too risky. And then because the Bitcoin Cash one, even if you do get stopped out, even if we do get stopped out here, what are we talking about? Hey, where did it go? Did I kill it? Oh, ABC. There we go. So even if we do get stopped out on this trade, what are we talking about? 2%? Yeah, 2%. 2%'s not bad. Like, I wouldn't go all in on this trade, but if you're only putting like a couple of percent of the portfolio into this and then 2% of that, it's nothing, right? 4%. It's 2 to 4. I like the risk and reward of this trade better, and even though it's very likely to get stopped out, the setup is not awesome. This would probably be forcing a trade, honestly. Like, it hasn't bounced off of this. Like, price, like it did bounce off here, but it looks like it's going to tap the midline again. So until this candle closed below it and looked like got a little wick on the top like this one did, I'm just not confident it's headed back down yet. So I'd probably be forcing a trade if I took this out of boredom. That's never the right reason to do it, even though the R&R is nice and a couple of indicators suggested bearish. We'll see, though. I don't know, maybe. Next is Binance. Okay, here we are. Take a look. What's Binance Coin been doing? Hey, look at that. Binance Coin was in this pretty big descending channel here, and it sort of walked on out of it. Actually, didn't walk on out of it. It had a nice volume out of it, and now it retested. So this is great, a really nice setup. This is exactly what you want to see, right? You want to see like, hey, come out, retest, look like it's about to go up. So this looks really bullish to me on a 1 day chart. Wow. Let's what else we got here? So let's clean this up a little bit. So we've got some fib lines here. We're above the 786. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. September 19th was the date where United States was banned from trading on China, although I think you could still trade there. Like, I don't know that they've actually blocked IPs or anything like that. But this looks really nice. Look at this, got a double bottom pattern here. Now it is still like, Here's a high, lower high, lower high. So this needs to break above, well, depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at candle closes, it only needs to break above about here. But really, it needs to break above here, right? So if price can get up to here, this is going to be really, really solid for BNB. That said, just kind of looking at the indicators here, like if you look at the macro price moves, it's really nice out of this channel and everything. But looking at the indicators here, there's a really strong close outside the middle line Bollinger Band. So I imagine this resistance here, this horizontal resistance, is probably going to be this guy right here, right, which was resistance here. It was support, then it's resistance, then it's resistance. I imagine we're going to have a hard time getting through this, but if price can get through that, we're probably going to see this, right? But I imagine it stays on the upside of this channel now, right? Like I think the channel has possibly moved, and we need to see that, but, if it could come down and test it again. But if price can, get through here, that would be insanely bullish, up to, maybe back up to the 22 and 23. What are we at? 21? What are we at right now? We're at 19K sats? No, we're at 21.2K sats for BNB, right? Getting up into the 22s and 23s would be pretty great. But this resistance is going to be key here. So, I don't really like buying into resistance, like a big one like this, but I would certainly consider if price came up here, like, and did one of these, buying in this area if you're looking to accumulate BNB. That looks like a good buy zone. But, the other thing that could happen is you could see one of these, and then you might be able to accumulate, like, right here off another retest here, which would be a great place to buy. So let's do a little circle down here too. The next retest here would be pretty nice, because if, let's say we bought down here, and then let's just say like this became the new range for a while, like something like this, right? And price starts bouncing in here a few times, then what are you talking about? You're talking about buying here and selling here. That's 15%, man. You think buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, 50%, 15%. Maybe short the top, long the bottom, short the top, long the bottom. Man, this could be really good. I like BNB here just for the action that could play out. Not totally clear yet, but it's looking very bullish. So I think we're just kind of waiting for one of these two zones to hit. So I would play this slow, but keep your eye on this over the next few days, and we'll see what happens here. But I might look to accumulate some of this if one of these zones are hit. Okay, that said, let's move on. How much time we got left? We got about 20 minutes left. I'll get to Stellar, and then we'll talk about the other topic I want to talk about. So let's do SV and Stellar. Did I miss one? No. BSV on Bitfinex. So BSV on the one-day chart. Not only above the middle Bollinger Band, but really aiming for the top, which is different than all the other coins we've looked at so far. Probably closest to EOS. Probably closest to EOS. We'll see. EOS made a run at it, but then came back and looks like it might be doing another one. But BSV, on the other hand, looks like the bands are tightening. It's coming up here. Let's bring the other indicators up. So this is bullish. This is a bullish cross. So bullish. Nice break through the middle, but it looks like we're right here at the top. So, I think this guy here, I'm going to bring this over from way back here. This is the zone that really needs to break here for SV if you're into this coin. This guy here, which is now resistance, right? It was support, was support, was support. Now it's resistance until it's broken, right? Like it's definitely going to get tapped. So, price might be good from right here to about right there. So what are we talking about? We are talking from right here where price is today to about here. Let's call it 7.5%, 8%, right, into that zone, which is not bad. But what do you risk? like you're probably risking the same amount. So if we took a long right here at price, and we took our take profit right in there, and our stop loss would have to go probably here. Oh, that's terrible. That's a horrible trade. Like really, you'd have to put your stop loss like below the middle Bollinger Band, and then there's just, let's go to the 4 hour and see if this is an easier setup. Your stop loss has to be down. Yeah, no, this is like 1-to-1, if not worse than that. No, it sucks. Forget it. Sometimes it just doesn't look good, and it doesn't look good. That said, it does look like, you know, price is certainly kind of struggling here with this little resistance here, right there. And then if it can pass that, it looks like it's going to take a run up here. So there might be about 5% left. A lot of green there, though, in a row, man. A lot of green there in a row on the 4 hour. With some gaps, too. How did that happen? That's Bitfinex. Let's look at it on Bittrex. There shouldn't be any gaps here. Yeah, there aren't any gaps here. Okay. So came up here, a little rejection going on. Yeah. Little, like, it might have one last little push in there, but that's a lot of green, right? You normally don't want to ever buy 5 green candles in a row. Like, you want to sell 5 green candles. You want to buy 5 red candles, right? So I don't know. This doesn't look that great. Let's look at Stellar, and that'll be our last major cap, and then we'll talk about a couple of other things. Stellar, how you doing, Stellar? Let's go to the 1 day first. What is this? Was I looking for opportunities here? Looks like got some resistance up here at this white bar. This looks like was resistance, now is support. So it looks like we got a trading range here now, I would say, kind of going in here. How big is that trading range? It is about, holy crap, 27%. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Well, this looks a little bullish. Nope, that's bearish. So here we have MACD bearish, RSI bearish. This looks bullish though. So it's just in mixed signals, right? Like this had a nice bounce off the middle line, maybe going up top here for 4% or so. And this actually looks like a decent trade because you could put your, that's 4% also. Never mind. I take it back. It looked like maybe this was a 2-to-1 R&R or something, but it isn't. It's 1-to-1. So the TLDR is mixed signals. Not looking great. And we've got, we've got plenty of time left. So we've got about 15 minutes left. Okay. So, topics. Let me talk about a couple of the altcoins real quick. Let me talk about Matic. So Matic and Ravencoin were one of the ones that blew up recently. And I had taken a long down here, and I sold it way early. Like, I did not, like, I took the long at, like, 127 sats, which was, like, a really great bottom. Like, I nailed the entry on this trade, and then I completely didn't ladder my, my sells, and I just, like, it hit this resistance right here. With this candle, like here, let's look at this. So it hit this resistance right here, started to come back down, and I took profit right there at 137. So which was, it was 127. It was 127 to 137. So it was 7%, and I was just like, yeah, 7% Matic, right? And then it just went bam, 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 and I'm like, oh my god. I should have laddered it. I should have taken 50% off the table here and put my, and just move my stop loss up and put some sells up higher at the next, you know, logical resistance point. And I would have at least caught some of this. I probably wouldn't have caught the whole thing, but I would have at least caught more. But I don't know. I got a little emotional and just took the profit and was just like 7%. I mean, 7% is nothing to shake a stick at. And I'm not beating myself up about this, but it's just like I usually ladder my exits, and I didn't do it here. So I just hopped out. Like, I think I was going to bed. And I just didn't want to deal with it. So I don't know, but I have some opportunity cost lost from making that move, which sucks. But then I shorted at 191. So I shorted from the orange zone here as this was coming back down. And I had 2 take profits here and here. And I did ladder my exits properly this time. So that's what these lines are. So I shorted at 191. I took 50% off the table at 184. And the last 50% was at 176. And it hit perfectly. Like, it really turned out well. Like, look at that. I shorted it here during this green candle. And was worried because this actually went up. And it got very close to my stop loss here. Didn't trigger it, though. Then came back down, hit my 50%, hit my 100%, I was out. This was a margin trade at 3x leverage. So here was about 9%, and this was about 21% because you multiply these by 3. So that was a pretty good trade. Matic's been really good, and it's been really strong, and it looks a lot like Raven, I think, coin is going to look a lot like this chart. Yeah, look at that. God, this is still going. Holy crap. So it's just really interesting to watch some of these favorites. You know, like Matic is one of them, and Raven. And remember, if you remember my prediction from like 3-4 weeks ago, I still feel like Matic is going to be the next Coinbase coin that's announced. I still feel like it is. I don't know if this has anything to do with that, but I still believe it's next. And then I think Atom is going to be, or Cosmos, sorry, is going to be the next one after that, which has also been doing really well. Like these mid caps have been just been doing really well. Where they go from here, I'm not really sure. But whenever a mid cap coin goes 5 fat green candles like that, I'm like, I have to try shorting this, right? If you can, right? And this is one of the shortable coins on Binance, so it's nice if you're able to do this. So I love being able to short altcoins. Because I just feel like their movements are a little bit more predictable. If there was 5 big red candles, I wouldn't feel as strong about a long as 5 green candles. Like when was the last time, like here, like look at this, man. Boom, 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 huge green candles, and then you short and you just get out at some point in this run. You don't have to catch the whole thing. Just catching like a piece of it would be great, right? Here, same thing, right? Look at all these big green candles, and then it turns red, you short, right? Same thing. Maybe you short along the bottom of these, you know, get out a little bit on this run, but I don't know. This worked out. I was happy. I still regret missing some of this move, but I feel like I got my cred back on the short here, which was nice. Anyways, okay, so on my Twitter, I asked you guys, in addition to the TA and FA, what topic would you most like to hear about? Crypto tax considerations, how to trade Ichimoku clouds, safe versus unsafe V types. There were only 4 votes, so not many people interacted with this particular poll. So, I don't know. Do you guys have an opinion? Like, if you're here in the chat and watching, I'm happy to be influenced by you guys. I mean, if you want to know how to trade Ichimoku cloud, which was one of the things, you know, if it was more, if there was like a much higher incidence of votes on that, I would probably be walking through. I've been with only 1 or 2 votes above. I'll just link you guys to my Ichimoku cloud video, which walks through the trades pretty nice and how to read it, trade it, how it works, where it came from, what the lines mean. Let me go to my YouTube channel and type in Ichimoku cloud. Where is it? Okay, so here it is. Okay, so if you just go to my YouTube channel, actually, so I'll just link that. If you just go to my YouTube channel and click the Crypto Play playlist, it's the first video in the playlist is teaching Ichimoku cloud. So just do that. I will type my YouTube here in the chat. There you guys go. So go ahead and check that out. Did that filter through to all the chats? It did. So there it is. There's the link in the chat. You guys can hit that on my YouTube channel. And then what were the other things I asked? I asked if you guys want to talk about safe 2-factor authentication. So let's talk about that for a little bit. We got some time. So there are a few different ways you can do 2-factor authentication, right? Or 2FA, right? And you know, the simplest one is like, hey, get an email, verify with your email. The next one is, you know, SMS text message, where you'll sign in and it sends a text message to your phone with a code on it, and then you will type that code in at the exchange to verify that it's you. And then the third kind of two-factor authentication is an application. It's hardware. It's like hardware or app, like same, very similar. Like Google Authenticator, Authy, those are authenticator apps, which are very similar to hardware, right? It's something that's got an internal. It changes the password, or the key every few seconds, 30 seconds or something, and it's unique to the device or piece of hardware that app is running on. So if you copy the app to a different device, it's going to be on a different synchronization, clock synchronization. They won't line up unless you synchronize it with a special key that you use to generate that, right? So basically, and that's the most secure form, right? Like if you go onto your crypto exchange and a crypto exchange sends you a text message and that's how you verify your identity after entering your password, that's not very secure. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's also very hackable, right? Like just go Google the term SIM swap hack, right? There are ways where bad actors can impersonate you. Like all they need is a little bit of information on you, and they can call the phone company up and they can be like, yo, I lost my phone. Yes, I'm this person. I have his name. I have my name. Here's my name. Here's my address. And they're like, what else can you verify? And you're like, oh man, I'm sorry, I forgot my password on the account, but please, like I'm locked out. You got to help me out. And they will do it. They make like $13 an hour, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But they will like relinquish control of your phone account to another person who could be a bad actor, and then they will have. And then anyone who calls or texts your phone will go to them and their SIM card because they swapped you, and you will get these messages like, whoa, what happened? My phone's not working. Or another phone was added to your account or whatever. Like they will be able to do that, and you will have to call the phone company, and it will pretty much be too late at that point if your crypto exchanges are secured with a text message. So what you really want to do is, instead of a text message, in fact, I wrote this on my Twitter. So let me bring it up, and I will show you guys. Let me search for 2FA. Let me find my post on 2FA. There we go. Another reason why you should never use text messaging for two-factor authentication. Remember my 3 tiers of security. Bronze is use a 2FA application such as Google Authenticator or Authy. That gives you the bronze level of security. That's honestly the minimum bar. If you don't have this, then you are not secure at all, in my opinion, okay? The silver, which is even better, is to use it on a device that is not your primary cell phone. So for example, my two-factor authentication, I run on an iPod Touch that is not my phone, and nobody knows. And if somebody wanted to steal it, they would have to come to my house and steal that device, okay? And gold, that never connects to the internet. And you're like, well, wait a minute. If it never connects to the internet, how do you get the 2FA on in the first place? Well, you can take a picture with it. So, like, it can take a picture of a QR code without having to connect to the internet. And then it inserts the seed, and now you've got that on there. Or you could type it, or you could put it on the internet just briefly and then take it off forever. But if it never connects to the internet, that's the gold standard. Like, how is somebody going to take your account that you have on a personal device that you keep, in your bedroom, right? In your bedroom drawer, or wherever you keep it, and never connects to the internet, right? It's going to be really, really hard to get that account away from you. Really, really tough. So that's like the gold standard for security. But at the very least, guys, make sure and use a two-factor authenticator application like Authenticator or Authy. Do not use text messaging to secure your accounts. It's not good enough. It may be working for you, but if someone gets your information and calls your phone company, they can take that away from you real fast, and you're going to be sorry that you did not use a two-factor authentication application. And now if you're trading on a crypto exchange that doesn't support Google Authenticator and it only does text messaging, then I would send that crypto exchange an angry support letter saying, hey, when are you going to protect me? I want to use an authenticator app. When are you going to support Authenticator for 2FA? You guys need to do that right now. And until they do that, I would not store any funds there, okay? Like, this is serious business. A text message, SMS, 2FA is not good enough. Don't use it. If that's what you're using, make a point to upgrade that security to an authenticator app, such as Authenticator Authy. Okay, guys? Seriously. Can't stress it enough. It's really important to take security seriously. I've had people try to hack me before. They're just bad actors all over the crypto space, all over it. Just because, you know, it's so easy to stay anonymous. You really want to make sure you've got your security under control. So don't make it easy. Make it really hard for people. And even then, you know, even if they do get your... So if someone SIM swapped my phone, I would lose absolutely nothing because I have nothing that text messages are good for. And my phone doesn't back anything up, and I don't have anything on my phone that's worth, you know, worth taking. So it could happen to me, and if it does, you know, that's too bad. I'll switch my phone and get it taken care of, but I will not have lost any heart and soul, just time, right? Which is great. So that's about all I have to say about two-factor authentication. What was the other topic that I was asking about? It was two-factor authentication. It was Ichimoku Cloud. And what was the third thing I asked about? It was crypto tax considerations. I don't know if I have enough time. 4 minutes to talk about tax. I think the best thing I can do here for you guys, I can make this a topic for another time. I just finished my taxes. I had to get them extended from, you know, April, just because I had such a complicated tax scenario in 2018. I want to make sure I did it right. So crypto tax is mainly on the honor system right now. Other than Coinbase Pro, high value trading, nobody's going to report your information to the IRS today. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen 2 or 3 years from now. And if it does, by the way, they can go back and say, hey, you did not report your crypto. We have evidence that you traded crypto back in 2018. You didn't report it. Not only do you owe those taxes, but back taxes because of the you know, the interest on that. So you can get really effed if the IRS decides to probe into different exchanges and those exchanges hand over the information pertaining to your trading. If you have KYC'd there, or if later you KYC and it comes back to you. So you know, right now it's all on the honor system, but I just want to sleep well at night, and I just don't want to worry about it. And I want to know that in 10 years, if the IRS is all over crypto, they can go all the way back, and I am going to be clean, and I have, you know, I'm paying taxes. I basically treat crypto like stocks, right? If I make money on it, I pay taxes on it. If I lose money on it, I write it, I claim it as a loss so that I can, you know, use it against gains in the future, right? So what's up, Nornator? But the TLDR is that it's on the honor system right now, so it's largely up to you what you want to do. But, you know, if you're trading, if you have a lot to lose, so just imagine this, the worst case scenario, and that's what I plan for. The worst case scenario is the IRS starts probing into crypto exchanges. The crypto exchanges require KYC. You know, maybe your favorite ones you KYC on, the other ones you just let them go. And if they can ever tie your information back to your trading for 2018 or 2017 and can show that you made gains, they can tax you on that 10 years later, 5 to 10 years later. Like they say, you know, like, oh, you can't, if they suspect fraud, right? If they suspect that you fraudulently did not report that, they can come after you infinitely. There's a 3-year statute on going back and looking at your 3 or 5 year to look at your taxes just normally. But if they suspect fraud, you guys can look this up. They can go back forever. And the worst case is they go back, they find out that you made, let's say, 20 grand. You made 20 grand, you know, a couple Bitcoin back in 2019, right? 4 years from now. And you made that 20 grand. And now you owe not only that 20 grand, but interest for 3 years on it before they got you. So now it's 30 grand, or now it's 25 grand or something. Now you have to pay that, and you're like, crap, I was not expecting to have to get penalized for that out of the blue, and that could wreck you, right? And maybe 25 grand is too much. Maybe it's actually like, you know, a few grand. Maybe it's 2 grand, right? But you're like, crap, I don't have 2 grand, and now you have to pay it. and and it's gonna suck. That's the worst case. I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm paying my taxes, and they just came out with new guidance, and the TLDR of the new guidance is that any crypto income you get, whether that's mining, whether that's staking, whether that's a masternode, whether that is, let's leave a fork off to the side, airdrop, all of that is considered income as if someone gave you a dividend on a stock, as if someone paid you in that crypto. And of course you owe taxes on that, because that's income that somebody just gave to you. Now, it gets a little dicey when you didn't want it, you don't care about it, and you don't intend to use it, like a fork, right? Or someone just, randomly dropping tokens into your wallet, right? You're like, I owe taxes on that? People can make me pay taxes? So there's a lot of like gray area as far as that goes. But if if those tokens are yours and you intend to use them, you will owe taxes on those at the time that you got them as your cost basis, okay? So that's kind of a big deal. And you also, if you have more than $150,000 total in foreign exchange value, you have to report an 8938 if you're in the US. I think it's an 8938. Yeah, 8938. So just look this up. I'm not going to go through all this, and I'm not a tax advisor, guys, so please go do your own research. But if you have foreign exchange accounts, even though the law said, hey, you don't have to disclose those as long as you're holding, as long as the assets are not, are in somebody else's control, like an exchange or something, and they're not going into fiat. I mean, if the exchange takes, it gets dicey because, man, I could do a whole talk on this. Yeah, I don't have time to go into this. I'll do this next week, guys. I'll go deeper into taxes next week. I have researched a lot about them. I do know a lot about them. I can't answer a lot of questions about them, and I don't want to like shortchange this discussion. But so rather than just like dab on a couple of subjects, I'll go deeper into it next week. Back taxes. So you've been reporting all your gains. Yes, Hemp. I have reported all of my gains since 2017, and in 2018, which was this year, I had overall losses, so I reported all of those. And those will offset my gains in 2019, which I've had this year. Anyways, but I'll talk more about this next week. Definitely, I will make this a topic, guaranteed. But for now, I want to end the stream because it's 12 o'clock, and I'm probably going to play some games or something. So if you guys want to hang out and chat in the chat, that's cool. I'll answer some questions, but other than that, I'm going to take off here. A lot of people with money feel like it's their obligation to not pay taxes. I mean, those people are well within their right, and a lot of people are like, taxation is theft, and a lot of people are like, I'm not going to pay taxes, nobody knows about this payments, and why should I pay, and I'm just going to roll the dice that I don't get caught, and that is totally your prerogative if you want to do that. I know people who are not paying taxes on their crypto, and they're just rolling the dice, and if they don't get caught, that's great, and if they do get caught, it's going to be a bad time, and I like to sleep at night. So I'm just a more conservative person. So I'm paying my taxes. And I'm just, you know what? I will never, ever, ever have to worry about it. And that makes me sleep better at night. It's just the kind of person I am. So we'll talk more about it next week, though. I'm going to take off. It's not theft. Yeah, I don't think it's theft, but whatever. That's just me. Everybody has a different opinion. But anyways, I'll see you guys next week. Let's chat later. Until then, trade safe, and I'll see you guys online.